The ominous arrival. The champagne was flowing freely at Mission Control in Houston. Cheers and applause filled the air as decades of work finally paid off. Humanity had just achieved its first successful faster-than-light jump. The experimental ship Icarus had vanished from Earth's orbit and reappeared near Mars in the blink of an eye, shattering humanity's previous limitations. Dr. Samantha Reeves, lead engineer of the FTL project, wiped tears of joy from her eyes as she hugged her colleagues. "We did it," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "We're no longer bound to our solar system." Little did they know, their celebration was about to be cut brutally short. As the revelry reached its peak, every screen in Mission Control suddenly went dark. A collective gasp rippled through the room as the monitors flickered back to life, displaying a view that shouldn't have been possible. An enormous alien ship, easily the size of Manhattan, had materialized over New York City. "What the hell?" Samantha breathed, her elation evaporating instantly. She rushed to her console, fingers flying over the keyboard. "This can't be real. It has to be a hack, a prank, something." But it was all too real. Within minutes, reports flooded in from around the globe. The alien vessel wasn't just over New York. Similar ships had appeared over every major city on Earth. London, Tokyo, Moscow, Beijing, Rio de Janeiro, all found themselves under the shadow of these colossal, silent sentinels. Panic erupted worldwide. Social media exploded with terrified posts and shaky video footage. Emergency services were overwhelmed as people fled their homes, clogging highways and causing accidents. In New York, the streets filled with a cacophony of car horns and screams as people pointed at the sky in terror and awe. Just as military forces around the world scrambled to respond, a blinding light emanated from each ship. Samantha shielded her eyes, certain that this was the end, that humanity's first step into the galactic community would be its last. But instead of weapon fire, a holographic figure appeared. It materialized simultaneously in the sky above every city, visible to all. The being was tall, easily 15 feet in height, with multiple limbs and a head that seemed to shift and change as you looked at it. Its skin, if you could call it that, shimmered with an iridescent quality that hurt the eyes if you stared too long. When it spoke, its voice resonated in every human mind, regardless of language barriers. "People of Earth," the figure intoned, its voice a discordant mixture of tones that sent shivers down Samantha's spine. "I am Zix Lorn, emissary of the Galactic Council. Your recent achievement has brought you to our attention." A murmur rippled through Mission Control. Samantha's heart raced. They knew about the FTL jump. Somehow, they had detected it instantly. Zix Lorn continued, its multiple eyes scanning the cowering populations below. "You have taken your first step into a larger universe. But the galaxy is not a playground, and we are not a welcoming committee." The hologram's form shifted, growing more ominous. "Humanity, your trial begins now. You will be tested, evaluated, and judged. Fail, and Earth becomes a quarantine zoo, forever cut off from the stars you so desperately wish to explore." Samantha's mind reeled. A trial. Judged by whom? And for what purpose? The question swirled in her head, but Zix Lorn wasn't finished. "Your first challenge appears before you now," the alien said, gesturing with one of its limbs. In the sky above each city, a new hologram materialized. It was a complex, shifting mathematical equation, its symbols alien yet somehow comprehensible. As Samantha stared at it, she felt a chill run down her spine. Something about the equation seemed wrong, dangerous. Zix Lorn's voice boomed once more. "This equation represents a solar flare of catastrophic proportions. In exactly 24 Earth hours, it will become reality. Solve the equation, and you may prevent the flare. Fail, and your civilization burns." With that ominous declaration, the hologram of Zix Lorn vanished, leaving only the menacing equation hovering in the sky. For a moment, there was stunned silence. Then chaos erupted anew. At Mission Control, alarms blared as instruments detected massive energy buildups in the sun. Samantha's colleagues scrambled to their stations, shouting orders and relaying information. "It's true," cried Dr. Chen, the astrophysicist. "I'm detecting unprecedented solar activity. If this continues, we're looking at a flare that could fry every electronic device on the planet." Samantha's mind raced. This couldn't be happening. Just moments ago, they were celebrating humanity's greatest achievement. Now, they faced extinction at the hands of an alien force they couldn't comprehend. But as she looked around at her colleagues, the brightest minds Earth had to offer, she felt a spark of defiance ignite in her chest. "Listen up," she shouted, her voice cutting through the panic. "We didn't come this far to be wiped out by some cosmic pop quiz. The Galactic Council wants to see what we're made of. Let's show them." Her words seemed to break the spell of fear. Dr. Chen nodded, a look of determination replacing his terror. "I'll start analyzing the solar data. Maybe there's a clue in the flare's pattern." "Good," Samantha said. "Dr. Yamaguchi, get in touch with every math department and think tank on the planet. We need all hands on deck for this equation." As her team sprang into action, Samantha turned to her own console. She had to contact the Icarus. If anyone could help, it was the crew that had just made history. Around the world, similar scenes played out. Governments convened emergency sessions. Military leaders strategized futilely against an enemy they couldn't fight. But more importantly, scientists, mathematicians, and scholars of all stripes began to tackle the problem at hand. In New Delhi, a team of computer scientists began programming a quantum computer to analyze the equation structure. In Cape Town, a group of theoretical physicists huddled around chalkboards, arguing passionately about the nature of the alien mathematics. And in a small classroom in Reykjavik, a high school teacher stared at the equation and felt a spark of inspiration that would soon rock the scientific community. As the first hour ticked by, Samantha received a transmission from the Icarus. Captain Miguel Chavez's face appeared on her screen, his expression grim but determined. "We saw everything, Doc," he said. "The ship, the alien, the equation. What do you need from us?" Samantha leaned in close to the camera. "Miguel, I need you to do something crazy. That equation. I think it's not just math. It's a key to manipulating solar plasma. I need you to take the Icarus as close to the sun as you safely can. Observer, gather data, and stand ready. If we solve this, you might be our only chance to implement the solution in time." Miguel's eyes widened, but he nodded without hesitation. "Consider it done. Icarus out." As the screen went dark, Samantha took a deep breath. Humanity's first FTL-capable ship was now on a potential suicide mission to the sun. But they had no choice. With the clock ticking and the fate of Earth hanging in the balance, they had to throw everything they had at the problem. 23 hours remained. The greatest test in human history had begun. And as Samantha turned back to the alien equation hovering malevolently in the sky, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of something much, much bigger. Little did she know how right she was. Unveiling hidden strength. The first challenge had been solved with mere minutes to spare. Dr. Samantha Reeves collapsed into her chair at Mission Control, exhaustion etched into every line of her face. They had done it. A global effort of unprecedented scale had cracked the alien equation, allowing the Icarus to disperse the looming solar flare with a precisely calibrated energy pulse. But their victory was short-lived. As if mocking their efforts, Zixlorn's towering hologram reappeared in the skies worldwide. Impressive, the alien's discordant voice echoed in every human mind. But this was merely the beginning. Prepare yourselves, humans. The real trials await. Over the next months, challenges rained down upon Earth with merciless regularity. Each one pushed humanity to its limits and beyond. The second trial involved decrypting an alien language that shifted and evolved in real time. Linguistic AI models crashed and burned, unable to keep up with the constantly mutating syntax and grammar. It was Dr. Yuki Tanaka, head of Tokyo's Neurodiversity Research Center, who made the breakthrough. She assembled a team of savants with extraordinary pattern recognition abilities, individuals on the autism spectrum whose minds could track the language's evolution in ways machines couldn't. For 72 sleepless hours, Yuki's team worked in a frenzy of scribbled notes and muttered phonemes. In the end, they not only decrypted the language but predicted its next 3 evolutionary stages, earning humanity a grudging nod of approval from Sixlorn. The third challenge pushed Earth to the brink of ecological collapse. The Galactic Council demanded that humanity terraform a barren moon of Jupiter within a week, or watch as a similar process was unleashed on Earth, turning the planet into an alien jungle that would devour human civilization. Panicked governments turned to their top scientists, but it was an unlikely alliance that saved the day. Dr. Carlos Mendoza, a cutting-edge biotech researcher from Brazil, reached out to indigenous leaders from the Amazon, the Congo, and Borneo. Together, they synthesized ancient ecological knowledge with bleeding-edge genetic engineering. The result was a suite of rapidly evolving microorganisms that could transform Jupiter's moon into a livable environment in record time. As an unexpected bonus, the process yielded insights that helped reverse climate change on Earth itself. But it was the fourth trial that truly tested humanity's mettle. Sixlorn presented a series of virtual reality simulations, each one a nightmarish scenario of alien invasion or cosmic catastrophe. "Show us how you would survive," the emissary intoned. "Prove your species' adaptability." Military strategists and hardcore gamers attacked the simulations with gusto, but kept failing. The scenarios were too alien, too unpredictable. Humanity's imagination, it seemed, was too limited. That's when 13-year-old Ava Chen, daughter of Dr. Amelia Chen, made a suggestion that would change everything. "Mom," she said, tugging on Dr. Chen's lab coat, "why don't you let us kids try? We're good at making stuff up." Initially dismissed, Ava's idea gained traction as adult after adult failed to navigate the alien mindscapes. Soon, a global network of children was plugged into the simulations, their unfettered imaginations proving to be humanity's secret weapon. Ava led a team that survived a reality where physics itself was weaponized. 10-year-old Kwame from Ghana found a diplomatic solution to a war between 4-dimensional beings, and 8-year-old twins from Australia, Zoe and Chloe, somehow managed to befriend an eldritch horror that had consumed 1,000 worlds. Humanity had passed 4 trials, each time unveiling hidden strengths. But as Samantha Reeves stared at the latest message from the Galactic Council, she felt a chill run down her spine. This 5th challenge, it was different. Darker. "Prove your commitment," Sixlorn's message read. "Sacrifice 1 million of your own, chosen randomly, to save the rest. You have 24 hours to comply." The world erupted in chaos. Ethical debates raged across every form of media. Religious leaders called for prayer and resistance. Governments locked themselves in emergency sessions. "We can't do it," Samantha argued in a global video conference. "It goes against everything we stand for. There has to be another way." But as the hours ticked by, a grim reality set in. The alternative to non-compliance was global annihilation. The needs of the many versus the needs of the few. An age-old philosophical quandary made terrifyingly real. It was New Zealand that proposed the solution. Instead of random selection, they would ask for volunteers. "Let those who wish to sacrifice themselves for humanity step forward," their prime minister announced. "We will honor them as the greatest heroes in human history." The response was overwhelming. Within hours, more than 10 million people worldwide had volunteered. They came from all walks of life: the elderly, the terminally ill, soldiers, firefighters, and ordinary citizens who simply believed in something greater than themselves. Samantha wept as she watched the volunteers say goodbye to their loved ones. This wasn't a victory. It felt like humanity had lost something precious, even as it proved its worth to the uncaring cosmic judges. As the grim deadline approached, Samantha found herself standing before Zixlorn's hologram, tasked with delivering humanity's response. "We have your volunteers," she said, her voice shaking with a mixture of sorrow and rage. 1,000,000 souls who embody the very best of humanity. But know this, we don't do this for you, or for your twisted test. We do this for each other, for our future. And one day, we'll make you answer for every life you forced us to sacrifice." Zixlorn's alien features remained impassive, but was there a flicker of something in those inhuman eyes? Respect, concern, or something else entirely? "Very well," the emissary said after a long pause. "You have passed this trial. Prepare for the final test. The fate of your species hangs in the balance." As the hologram faded, Samantha felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned to see Dr. Amelia Chen, her face etched with determination. "We've identified the artifact they want us to unlock," Amelia said. "It's like nothing we've ever seen before. I think this is it, the key to understanding what's really going on." Samantha nodded, squaring her shoulders. They had sacrificed too much to falter now. Whatever this final challenge was, humanity would face it head-on. And as she followed Amelia to the lab where Earth's brightest minds were gathering, Samantha couldn't shake a growing suspicion. These trials, these sacrifices, they were changing humanity, awakening something within the species that had lain dormant for millennia. The final test awaited, but perhaps, just perhaps, it wasn't humanity who should be afraid. The artifact's shadow, the Mariana Trench, Earth's deepest natural point, had never seen so much activity. A flotilla of ships hovered above the choppy Pacific waters, their spotlights piercing the gloom. But it wasn't the ocean depths they illuminated. Floating a mere 10 meters above the waves was an object that defied explanation. A perfect cube, blacker than the darkest night, roughly the size of a small car. It hovered silently, impervious to the wind and waves below. This was the artifact, the focus of humanity's final test. Dr. Amelia Chen stood on the deck of the lead research vessel, her eyes fixed on the cube. Dark circles under her eyes betrayed countless sleepless nights, but her gaze remained sharp, determined. "Anything new?" Dr. Samantha Reeves asked, joining her colleague at the railing. Amelia shook her head. "Nothing. It's been 3 days, and we're no closer to understanding this thing than when it first appeared." The cube had materialized 72 hours ago, immediately after Zixlorn had announced the final challenge. "Unlock its secrets," the alien emissary had said, "and prove yourselves worthy of the stars." It sounded simple. It was anything but. Every attempt to approach the artifact had ended in failure. Drones short-circuited. Robotic submersibles went haywire. Even birds gave it a wide berth, as if repelled by some invisible force. But it was the human toll that truly unnerved Amelia. The few brave souls who had tried to approach it by boat had come back, changed. Some babbled incoherently about visions of cosmic wars and long-dead civilizations. Others fell into catatonic states, their minds seemingly trapped in far-off places and times. "We can't keep this up," Samantha said, her voice low. "The UN's breathing down our necks, demanding progress. And these nightmares." Amelia nodded grimly. It wasn't just those who approached the artifact. Around the world, people were reporting vivid, terrifying dreams. Visions of ancient conflicts among the stars, of civilizations rising and falling, of a darkness that devoured entire galaxies. "It's like it's trying to tell us something," Amelia mused. "But the message is too big, too alien for our minds to comprehend." A commotion from the lab module interrupted their conversation. They rushed inside to find a team of scientists clustered around a bank of monitors, excitement palpable in the air. "Dr. Chen, Dr. Reeves," called out Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the neurodiversity expert who had helped crack the alien language months ago. "We found something." On the screens, a series of brain scans flickered. Amelia recognized them as belonging to the dreamers, those most strongly affected by the artifact-induced visions. We've been approaching this all wrong, Yuki explained, her words tumbling out in a rush. We thought the nightmares were random, chaotic. But look here. She pointed to specific areas lighting up across multiple scans. These patterns, they're consistent, structured. It's not chaos. It's a language. Amelia felt her heart race. A language? You mean the artifact is talking to us? Yuki nodded vigorously. Not just talking. I think it's been trying to download information directly into our minds. But the data stream is too intense, too alien. Our brains interpret it as nightmares, as a defense mechanism. So how do we decode it? Samantha asked, leaning in close to study the scans. We need a mind that can handle the input, Yuki said. Someone who can process vast amounts of information, who can see patterns where others see chaos. She paused, then looked directly at Amelia. We need you. Amelia took a step back, stunned. Me? But I'm not. Your work in synorchaeology, your ability to piece together alien cultures from fragments, you've spent your entire career preparing for this moment, Yuki insisted. And she hesitated, then forged ahead. We know about your past. The accident, the coma, the way your brain rewired itself. Amelia flinched. She never talked about the accident that had claimed her husband's life 5 years ago, that had left her in a coma for months. When she'd awakened, her mind had been different, faster, able to see connections that others missed. It had accelerated her career, but at a cost. She still had gaps in her memory, moments where the world seemed to shift around her. You want me to interface directly with the artifact, Amelia said. It wasn't a question. Samantha placed a hand on her friend's shoulder. It's your choice, Amelia. We can find another way. But Amelia was already shaking her head. No, Yuki's right. This is why I'm here. This is why we're all here. She took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. Let's do it. The next few hours passed in a blur of preparation. A specialized interface was rigged up, designed to allow Amelia to approach the artifact safely. Theories were posited and discarded. Contingency plans were made, then revised again. As the sun began to set, casting an orange glow across the Pacific, Amelia found herself in a small boat, heading towards the artifact. The cube seemed to pulse with an inner light as she drew near, its surface rippling like black mercury. Are you sure about this? Samantha's voice crackled through her headset. Amelia managed a small smile. No, but I'm doing it anyway. She reached out, her gloved hand inching towards the artifact's surface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, as her fingers made contact, the world exploded into light and sound. Amelia gasped as information flooded her mind. She saw stars being born and dying, civilizations rising and falling across millions of worlds. She witnessed cosmic wars that reshaped galaxies, alliances forged and broken across eons. And through it all, a presence. Ancient, vast, fragmented, yet somehow alive. With a final burst of insight, Amelia understood. The artifact wasn't a test, it was a prison. And she had just released its captive. Reality reasserted itself with brutal swiftness. Amelia found herself back on the boat, her mind reeling from the influx of cosmic knowledge. The artifact was gone, its energy dispersed. But in its place, hovering just above the waves, was a being of pure light and thought. I am the last of the precursors, a voice echoed in Amelia's mind. And you, child of Earth, have awakened me from my long slumber. As the light being coalesced into a vaguely humanoid shape, Amelia felt a chill run down her spine. The true nature of the Galactic Council, the real purpose of the trials, it all became horrifyingly clear. We don't have much time, the precursor said, its thoughts tinged with urgency. The ones you know as the Council will soon realize what has happened. We must prepare. Prepare for what? Amelia managed to ask, her voice hoarse. The being's response sent a wave of terror and determination through her. For war, Dr. Chen. A war for the very soul of the galaxy. And humanity must lead the charge, or all will be lost to the darkness between the stars. As if in response to the precursor's words, the sky above lit up with the sudden arrival of hundreds of alien ships. The Galactic Council had returned, and they did not look pleased. The final test was over. The real battle was about to begin. Shattered realities. The sky above the Pacific Ocean churned with otherworldly energies as the Galactic Council's armada materialized. Ships of impossible geometries and mind-bending designs filled the horizon, their very presence warping the fabric of reality. Dr. Amelia Chen stood on the deck of the research vessel, her mind still reeling from the cosmic download she'd received from the artifact. Beside her, the being of pure energy that called itself a precursor pulsed with an urgency that sent shivers down her spine. "They're here," Amelia whispered, her voice barely audible over the sudden howling of winds that shouldn't exist. The precursor's form flickered. "Yes, and they are not pleased. The game has changed, Dr. Chen. Are you ready to lead your people into a war they never asked for?" Before Amelia could respond, the air shimmered, and the towering form of Zix Lorn appeared on the deck. But gone was the aloof emissary they had known. The being before them writhed with barely contained rage, its form shifting between states of matter in a dizzying display. "You meddlesome speck," Zix Lorn's voice boomed, shaking the very air. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Amelia straightened her back, drawing on a well of courage she didn't know she possessed. "We've seen through your lies," she said, her voice steady. "Your tests weren't to judge us. They were to keep us distracted while you prepared to consume our world." Zix Lorn's form pulsed with dark energy. "Foolish child, we are the devourers of galaxies, the end of all things. Your pitiful species was meant to be nothing more than a morsel, a fleeting flavor before we moved on to richer feeding grounds." The precursor moved protectively in front of Amelia. "And yet they have done what countless civilizations before them could not. They have awakened me, Zix Lorn. Your reign of terror ends here." A laugh like shattering glass erupted from Zix Lorn. "Ends? Oh no, Ancient One. It is only beginning." With a gesture, Zix Lorn opened a rift in space-time. Through it, Amelia could see Earth's major cities, each under attack by forces that defied comprehension. Tentacles of living darkness wrapped around skyscrapers. Storms of crystalline shards shredded everything in their path. And everywhere, people ran screaming from horrors the human mind was never meant to perceive. "You have 1 hour," Zix Lorn sneered. "Surrender the precursor, or watch your world burn." As the alien vanished, Amelia felt her knees go weak. She grabbed the railing for support, her mind racing. What can we do?" she asked, looking between the precursor and her fellow humans on the deck. Dr. Samantha Reeves stepped forward, her face pale but determined. "We fight," she said simply. "Humanity's been backed into a corner before. We always find a way." The precursor's energy form pulsed with what might have been approval. "Your friend is right, Dr. Chen. But to fight this enemy, we must awaken humanity's true potential, the power that has laid dormant within your species since the dawn of your evolution." Amelia's eyes widened as understanding flooded her mind. "The trials," she breathed. "They weren't just tests. They were activating latent abilities," the precursor confirmed. "Abilities that my kind seeded in your ancestors eons ago, as a failsafe against the very threat we now face." Over the next frantic minutes, a plan took shape. The precursor would use the remnant energies of the artifact to broadcast a signal worldwide, awakening the dormant potential in every human. Amelia, with her uniquely altered mind, would serve as the conduit. As the team worked to rig up a makeshift broadcast array, reports flooded in from around the globe. The Devourer's attack was intensifying, reality itself seeming to warp and twist under their assault. In New York, the Statue of Liberty came to life, its copper skin flowing like mercury as it battled a creature of pure void. In Beijing, ancient terracotta warriors rose from museum displays, marching against waves of chittering, multi-dimensional horrors. And in the skies over every major city, the bravest Air Force pilots engaged in dogfights with ships that disobeyed the laws of physics. Humanity was fighting back with everything it had. But it wasn't enough. "We're ready," Samantha called out, snapping Amelia back to the present. Amelia took a deep breath and stepped into the center of the hastily constructed array. The precursor's energy form enveloped her, and she felt power beyond imagination course through her veins. "Now, Dr. Chen," the precursor's voice echoed in her mind. "Reach out to your people. Awaken them." Closing her eyes, Amelia focused on the latent energy within her, the cosmic knowledge imparted by the artifact. She thought of every human on Earth, of their struggles and triumphs, their hopes and fears. And then, with a mental push that felt like shattering a dam, she let the power flow. The effect was instantaneous and world-changing. Across the globe, humans staggered as new awareness flooded their minds. Ordinary people found themselves wielding extraordinary abilities. A teacher in Sao Paulo discovered she could manipulate gravity, using her newfound power to save a busload of children from a dimensional rift. A farmer in Kenya realized he could communicate with plants, rallying an army of vegetation to fend off crystalline invaders. In orbit, the crew of the International Space Station found they could project force fields, creating a protective bubble around the Earth that deflected the worst of the Devourer's long-range attacks. And perhaps most crucially, people began to see the Devourers for what they truly were. The veil of incomprehension lifted, revealing the cosmic horrors in all their terrifying glory. But instead of driving humanity mad, this revelation steeled their resolve. As the tide of battle began to turn, Zix Lorn appeared once more on the deck of the research vessel. Gone was the sneer, replaced by a look of utter disbelief. "Impossible," the being hissed. "You were meant to be cattle. Food. How are you doing this?" Amelia, her eyes glowing with newfound power, stepped forward. "You underestimated us, Zix Lorn. Humanity isn't just another race for you to devour. We're the culmination of eons of planning. The final defense against your kind." The precursor's voice rang out, filled with pride. "You see now, Devourer. The cosmic cycle turns. Your time is ending, and humanity's is just beginning." Zix Lorn's form writhed in fury. "This isn't over," it snarled. "We are Legion. We are eternal. We will." But its words were cut short as a pulse of pure energy erupted from Amelia, shattering Zix Lorn's projection like glass. As the fragments of the alien being dissipated, Amelia turned to face the horizon. The battle was far from over. The main bulk of the Devourer fleet still hung in the sky, a dark promise of the conflict to come. But for the first time since this cosmic nightmare began, Amelia felt a glimmer of hope. Humanity had awakened. They had seen behind the curtain of reality and emerged stronger for it. The war for the galaxy had begun. And humanity, once the newcomer, now stood as the last line of defense against a threat older than time itself. As if sensing her thoughts, the precursor spoke, its voice filled with both caution and hope. "This is only the beginning, Dr. Chen. The real battle lies ahead. Are you ready to lead humanity into the stars, to rally the free peoples of the galaxy against the Devourers?" Amelia looked at her fellow humans on the deck, saw the determination in their eyes, felt the newfound power thrumming through her veins. She nodded, a fierce smile spreading across her face. "We were born ready," she said. "Let's show the universe what humanity can do." Humanity unchained. The vastness of space, once a realm of mystery and wonder for humanity, had become a battlefield. Earth's first intergalactic fleet hung in high orbit, a hastily assembled armada of retrofitted satellites, space stations, and ships that had been little more than theoretical designs mere weeks ago. Dr. Amelia Chen stood on the bridge of the flagship Phoenix, named for humanity's rise from the ashes of near destruction. The ship hummed with energies that defied conventional physics, a testament to how far humanity had come in so short a time. "Status report," Amelia called out, her voice steady despite the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "All ships report ready." "Admiral," replied Captain Miguel Chaves, the once commander of the Icarus, now serving as Amelia's second-in-command. "The Devourer's main fleet is holding position just beyond Mars' orbit. No movement yet." Amelia nodded, her mind reaching out to connect with the vast network of awakened humans across the fleet and back on Earth. The constant stream of information would have overwhelmed her old self, but now it felt as natural as breathing. The precursor, its energy form now permanently bonded with Amelia, spoke in her mind. "They're waiting for reinforcements. The Devourers have never faced a setback like this. They're uncertain." A grim smile touched Amelia's lips. "Good. Uncertainty leads to mistakes, and we'll be there to capitalize on every single one." The weeks following humanity's awakening had been a whirlwind of preparation and revelation. As people across the globe came to terms with their new abilities, society underwent a rapid transformation. Old power structures crumbled as merit and ability took precedence over wealth or heritage. The petty squabbles that had divided nations faded in the face of a truly existential threat. But it wasn't just Earth that had changed. As humanity's newfound psychic abilities extended their awareness beyond their home planet, they made contact with other awakening species across the galaxy. Races that had been subjugated or manipulated by the Devourers for eons began to stir, inspired by Earth's resistance. "Admiral," called out Dr. Yuki Tanaka from her station, "we're receiving transmissions from the Andromeda Galaxy. The luminous Concordat is pledging their support. Their fleet will arrive within the hour." Amelia felt a surge of hope. The luminous Concordat, a coalition of energy beings from humanity's neighboring galaxy, had been among the first to answer Earth's call for allies. Their mastery of faster-than-light travel would be crucial in the coming battle. As if sensing the shift in the tide, the Devourer fleet began to move. Vast, unknowable shapes blotted out the stars as they approached, reality warping around them. "This is it," Amelia breathed. She opened a channel to the entire human fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen. The moment we've prepared for is here. Remember your training, trust in your abilities, and most importantly, trust in each other. Humanity stands united, not just with itself, but with free beings across the cosmos. Today, we fight not just for Earth, but for the very future of life in the universe. Good luck, and Godspeed." As she closed the channel, Amelia felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned to see Dr. Samantha Reeves, her old friend and now chief scientist of the fleet. "Not bad for a couple of lab rats who used to get excited about rock samples, huh?" Samantha said with a wry smile. Amelia chuckled despite the tension. "We've come a long way from the Mariana Trench." Their moment of levity was interrupted by alarms blaring across the bridge. The Devourer fleet had launched its first assault, a wave of energy that twisted spacetime itself. "Brace for impact," Miguel shouted. But Amelia was already moving. She stretched out her hands, channeling the combined psychic energy of the entire human fleet. A shimmering barrier sprang into existence, enveloping their ships in a cocoon of pure will. The Devourer's attack struck the barrier with earth-shattering force. For a moment, it seemed as if the very fabric of reality would tear. But the shield held, humanity's collective determination proving stronger than even the cosmic horrors they faced. "All ships, return fire," Amelia commanded. The human fleet responded with a barrage that would have been impossible mere months ago. Beams of concentrated thought lanced out, each guided by the unwavering focus of a human gunner. Missiles wreathed in psychic energy that allowed them to phase through conventional defenses streaked towards their targets. And perhaps most impressively, specially trained teams of human shins reached out with their minds, attempting to unravel the very essence of the Devourer ships. The battle was joined, a clash of titans that shook the solar system. The void of space lit up with energies never before witnessed in this corner of the galaxy. Planets trembled in their orbits as forces beyond mortal comprehension were unleashed. For hours, the tide of battle ebbed and flowed. The human fleet, despite its newfound powers, found itself hard-pressed by the sheer alienness of their foe. Ships were lost, their crews crying out in psychic anguish before being snuffed out of existence. But for every human vessel destroyed, the Devourers paid a heavy price. Just as it seemed the battle might tip in the Devourers' favor, space itself tore open. The luminous Concordat had arrived, their ships of pure energy joining the fray with a fury born of millennia of oppression. With their allies by their side, humanity pressed their advantage. Amelia, drawing on the combined power of every awakened human in the fleet, reached out towards the Devourer flagship. In her mind's eye, she saw Zixlorn, the being's true form, a writhing mass of cosmic horror. "It's over, Zixlorn," Amelia's voice echoed across the psychic plane. "Your reign of terror ends here." The Devourer's response was a scream of defiance that shattered moons and sent shockwaves across the solar system. But Amelia stood firm, the combined will of humanity and their allies flowing through her. With a final titanic effort, Amelia unleashed the full power of awakened humanity. A wave of pure psychic energy washed over the Devourer fleet. Ships that had terrorized the galaxy for eons began to disintegrate, their impossible geometries unraveling in the face of a force they had never anticipated. The unlimited potential of a young species united in purpose. Zixlorn's flagship was the last to fall. As it crumbled, Amelia caught a final glimpse of the being that had set this all in motion. In its alien eyes, she saw something she never expected: fear. And then, in a flash brighter than a supernova, it was over. The Devourer threat, which had loomed over the galaxy for billions of years, had been vanquished. As the light faded and the human fleet regrouped, a stunned silence fell over the solar system. It was Miguel who finally broke it, his voice filled with awe. We did it. We actually did it." Amelia nodded, tears streaming down her face as the enormity of their victory sank in. "We did, but this isn't the end. It's just the beginning." She turned to address the fleet once more, her words carried to every awakened human across Earth and beyond. "Today, we have thrown off the shackles that have bound not just our species, but countless others across the cosmos. We have proven that unity, courage, and the indomitable human spirit can overcome even the most cosmic of horrors. But our journey is far from over. Out there, across the vast expanse of the universe, other species are awakening, inspired by our stand. They will need guidance, protection, and allies." Amelia paused, looking out at the star-studded expanse before her. In that moment, she saw not just distant suns, but countless worlds waiting to be explored, civilizations to be uplifted, and wonders beyond imagination. "My fellow humans, we have been unchained. The universe awaits. Let's show it what humanity can do." As cheers erupted across the fleet and back on Earth, Amelia felt the precursor's presence in her mind, its thoughts tinged with pride and hope. "Well done, child of Earth," it said. "You have exceeded even my wildest expectations. The mantle of guardianship has been passed. The future of the galaxy is in humanity's hands now." Amelia smiled, her gaze fixed on the endless possibilities that lay before them. "And we're just getting started."